Hi, this is the second video, I guess. I've checked after recording like the first one, I checked audio quality and I realized it's really bad. But also I realized like you can understand me, so for now I just think I will keep it like this because I guess I'm understandable even though it sounds very bad. But I don't have a microphone right now and I can't afford one, but maybe in the future I will buy one, or if I even continue these videos, who knows. So yeah, I just had another moment of I want to talk about something and I want to talk about something specific, which for today would be anxiety or feeling anxious. Um, because I made quite a journey with that specific emotion. I wouldn't describe myself as a very anxious person, or like I'm not pondering a lot or like being anxious in general. Maybe I'm cautious, but I wouldn't say I'm anxious. That changed though as I got sick, because like as soon as like basic functions stop to work, there's some kind of anxiety starting to happening, and a lot of questions arise like, will I ever be healthy again? Can I ever do that again? Can I ever do that again? And it's not even like crazy things. It's not like, oh my god, can I ever, travel somewhere for months and like do this and that. It's not these kind of can I do this or that. It's more like, can I ever go to the toilet alone again, or can I ever cook myself a meal again or take a shower? And then I started to experience something with which I'm not familiar so far, which is anxiety. Like since I'm sick, it's the first time in my life I would say I'm sometimes really anxious, almost panicky. I guess I never had a panic attack, but I do definitely feel sometimes very strong anxiety. And since this is a new emotion, I almost I also didn't have the time or like the experience to develop some kind of like mental tools to deal with anxiety. As you don't experience something, you also don't develop the resistance towards it. I'm never anxious, so I don't have to deal with that. So I don't know how to cope with that as soon as I'm anxious. And I realized I had to, and still have to. Like I'm by far not a master. Develop strategies how to cope with anxiety, all kinds of anxiety. And one thing I realized while in investigating like the nature of anxiety is that it's almost never now, right? Like I woke up this morning, for example, and I felt like super anxious, and I couldn't pinpoint why. Like I was just also not feeling good in my body, like lots of like fatigue and pain and whatever different kind of stuff. And I was just like, but the worst is I was so anxious, like I almost couldn't function properly. And at some point I realized anxiety is like kind of like the development of a thought. Like in the beginning there's never just anxiety, there's always a thought, something like, oh my god, it will be like this. Like there's some kind of thought about the future or past which makes me assume to know how the future will be, or like whatever future, near future, far away future. Like my brain thinks it will be like this or that, and therefore I have to worry now and have to change something now, because otherwise it will be horrible. But that's crazy, because what happens is that I get anxious and I don't start changing things. I start to like fall apart more or less. Even like just aside the fact that I can't even change anything. The only thing I can do is try to ease as good as possible in the now and rest and kind of put my faith out there that healing will happen over time if enough rest is provided. But anxiety kind of plays this trick in my mind, which is like, you will never do this again, and because that's so horrible, you have to change something now. And I get this super like tight feeling around my chest, and like this kind of like almost paranoid feeling of like being trapped infinitely in this body and in this very experience. I realized that's not true. You never know the future. You never know. Anything can happen. That sounds esoteric and spiritual, but literally anything can happen. You don't know. It's kind of stupid to assume to know what's gonna happen. On the other hand, it's also a very basic instinct. We just got to survive, you know, like as we were, I guess, still hunting in the forest and doing stuff there. We kind of had to have this feeling of anxiousness and anxiety to like understand when situations get tricky, and we should like be in some kind of like ready to flight position. But in the circumstances now, things have changed. Like lots of times fear is a pre-programmed thing happening because we experienced something in the past and we fear that it will happen again, but most of the times it's not gonna happen again. So the fear is kind of useless. I mean, it's not useless. It gives us some kind of hint to where our emotions pinpoint like what's happening inside of us, but like that it's so strong and it overtakes us and it almost immobilizes us. That's kind of useless. There's no point in that. So whenever I'm anxious, I just really need to come back to realize that I'm here right now and that I really don't know. Just because it was like this a few weeks ago doesn't mean in a few weeks it will be like this again. That's kind of it's easy said, it's hard done. What it takes is a lot of like mental muscle memory to realize, oh, I'm in this anxiety moment again. Like for example, this morning I just sat down and meditated 20 minutes. I ate something and I read, and it got way better. Of course, it also gets worse when my bodily functions shut down, but in general, it gets better the moment I realize that I have the full power over here and now, and not over the future and not over the past. So anxiety is kind of tricky because it makes us believe we have no more power at all. Like we are doomed. Like it will happen this way if we want to or if we don't want to. But it's important to not be fooled by this thought, or in general be fooled by our thoughts, because like we always just trust them as if they're like the fundamental truth of something. But that's not how things work. As long as I mean, in my experience, that's not how things work. Maybe they do, you know, who am I to say that's true and that's not? I'm just, I guess, sharing my experience. Yeah, so I really encourage myself to be more present, deal with emotions as soon as I notice them, and not like push them away, because if I push them away they will only come back worse, stronger. And also not just trust any thought I have instantly, like just at least like give it a few moments and wonder like, why is this thought happening? And I think if I do these things consistently, I will get better and better in dealing with anxiety. It's also funny how how when we do not experience something in our life, we have no resistance towards it, right? I think it can be, maybe there's other emotions I haven't truly discovered yet, who knows. Yeah, I think that's it for now. That was quite a, I don't know how to say, explosive talk. Well, I hope it helped you, whoever sees this, if anyone ever sees this. And see you next time.